What up? Okay, well, let's get some of this going. All right. Volume looks pretty well mixed there. All right, YouTube. Don't make me fight you for my own stream link now. Zamasu Goku Black, hello, welcome in. Okay. Put out a tweet and we're pretty much chilling after that. All right, so it's going to be a writing stream tonight, just like we did last Friday evening, and just like what we did last evening as well. So it's going to be a nice chill time. You know, I've already gotten all of my points that I need and the raid and that I really need for the festival this week, so it's like, meh. Do something new every once in a while, yeah. You know? I know. I know you know. Okay. So I think we'll sit and we'll just kind of chill for just a moment here. Wait for some people to start coming in. But hopefully everybody out there is having themselves a fine time. Let's see, maybe I can, this was the one last thing I kind of wanted to change the wording of a little bit. Yeah, this is kind of a small thing that I just didn't really know. I don't know. I'm going to leave it highlighted for now. I can try and figure out something else for that later. Akali, hello. Welcome in. Who, hello. Welcome in. Joseph, hello. Welcome in. Hopefully everybody's having themselves a nice chill time, because that's what you're going to be in for right now, is a nice chill time. So even if you weren't, I got you. It'll take you 50 years. A grilled chicken sandwich. Ooh, that sounds pretty tasty. Okay, so one thing that I did want to do once stream got started and we got a good handful of people in here was for those who ended up dipping out before the very end last night, this is basically what we're looking at right now. This is how much I've got written. I've made some edits since last week, certainly, but I've also done some edits since last night. So Yeah, I figured maybe a good way to start is just kind of make sure everyone's caught up. That should be about right? Yeah, very good. Okay, then. But yeah, I guess I'll give it a quick read through real quick. Then once that's done, we'll go on ahead and we'll start getting on to the next day, right? Our story begins on a planet named Vegeta. Planet Vegeta is the home of the Saiyan race, and on this planet we find an older Saiyan named Gordon, and his daughter Zucchi. With his age, his short, spiky hair and his goatee have started to gray. He wears battle armor that lacks shoulder guards, and has hip guards on each side and a guard in the front. Although he may be past his prime, he is still a well-respected warrior due to his successful battle strategies that would ultimately aid in the Saiyans' victory in the Saiyan Tuffle War. Since the Saiyans were indentured by the evil galactic overlord Frieza, he has since ceased his life as a warrior and has instead focused all his time and energy into the creation and refinement of the plant-like humanoids called Cybermen. When he's not buried knee-deep in his work, he spends the rest of his time raising and training his 5-year-old daughter named Zucchi, with the aid of the Cybermen that he creates. Zucchi has purple eyes and long, spiky, dark mahogany-colored hair, and is very much eager to grow stronger and learn all she can from her well-known and well-respected father, a Saiyan elite. Gordon has just finished his work for the day and is about to get Zucchi prepared for her daily training, which she's already gotten a head start on, by doing basic exercises such as push-ups, sit-ups, and things of the like in their training room while she awaits her father. "Alright, Zucchi," Gordon says as he enters the room. "It's time to begin your training for the day. The training I've been giving you so far has been mere child's play. It's time for us to kick things up a notch. From here on out, things are going to get serious." Zucchi responds, "Okay, Papa, I'm ready. I've been waiting for this. I can't wait to show you how strong I've gotten." Gordon then says, "Up until now I've been putting you up against groups of weaker Cybermen, as those are the types of battles we Saiyans often face. But today will be different. Today you will be fighting one Cyberman, but it will be of a similar power level to your own, perhaps even slightly greater." Zucchi, with a bright look in her eye, excitedly says, "Right, I'm ready." Gordon then plants a Cyberman seed into a large planting pot that he brought with him. From the pot emerged a somewhat grotesque little creature, similar in size to the young Zucchi. The creature's skin was of an orangish hue and had menacing claws on both hands and feet, and it had a rather veiny-looking head. It let out a shrill shriek as it emerged. "Well now, since you have your opponent, I will go reside in the observation chamber and see how you fare. If anything goes sideways, I will put a stop to this training session. But I don't believe I'll have any reason to do that. Now will I?" Gordon proclaimed proudly. "No way!" shouted Zucchi. "I'm gonna beat the living daylights out of this Cyberman." Gordon let out an amused scoff and made his way to the observation room. The Cyberman makes the first move. It's much faster than what Zucchi is used to fighting thus far. It charges in with a headbutt, which Zucchi just manages to block, which knocks her back about 2 feet. Suddenly, the Cyberman's head opens up, from which an energy beam comes out. Zucchi dodges it by jumping up and over the Cyberman, landing behind it. But the Cyberman was prepared. It dropped to the floor, then pushing its body up with its arms, kicks Zucchi with both legs, its feet being firmly planted into Zucchi's gut, sending her flying back. The Cyberman catches up with her, and the two start to clash. They keep pace with each other for many blows until the Cyberman lands a punch on Zucchi's cheek. This knocks Zucchi off her balance, but only for a moment, as she recovers gracefully and delivers a spin kick right to the Cyberman's head. It skids across the floor as Zucchi then fires a barrage of basic ki blasts at it. Only about half of them hit their mark, and dust and smoke are kicked up into the air. The Cyberman takes advantage of this situation and fires 2 ki waves at Zucchi through the smokescreen. One landing a hit on her left arm, while the other one barely makes contact with her right leg. The blasts are enough to knock Zucchi on her back, but she recovers by performing a backward somersault and pushing herself back up onto her feet. As she regains her footing, she pulls her hands to about shoulder level and begins to ready an energy wave. She begins to say, "Gallic, gah!" But before she can even get the words out, the Cyberman is already on top of her. It slams both of its fists into the top of her head, sending her swiftly into the ground, where the Cyberman then kicks her away. Zucchi picks herself up off the floor and thinks to herself, "Alright, I think I'm starting to get the feel of how this one fights. I'll start charging up another attack to lure it in, and once it's close enough, I'll let him have it." This time, Zucchi holds out one hand and begins to charge up an energy ball. Luckily, this attack can be charged more easily than the Gallic gun she tried to use previously. The Cyberman smirks as it thinks it's about to get another easy shot in, but this time it decides to attack from afar, firing a basic ki wave in her direction. Although Zucchi is surprised by this maneuver, she is able to quickly move to the side, and with a spin, she throws the energy ball in the Cyberman's direction, shouting, "Gallic grenade!" as she does so. The attack barely misses the Cyberman and explodes directly behind it with an incredible force much more powerful than that of your typical energy ball. This sends the Cyberman flying rapidly towards Zucchi, who has already begun to charge another Gallic grenade, albeit smaller than her first. As the Cyberman flies in range, Zucchi pushes the energy ball into the Cyberman's upper body, creating a mighty explosion on impact. And although this does significant damage to the Cyberman, Zucchi does get caught in her own blast, damaging herself in the process. A drawback of the Gallic grenade when used up close and the user's ki is not properly controlled. Zucchi and the Cyberman are forced away from each other, and although Zucchi is worse for wear, she's still all in one piece, which could not be said of the Cyberman, which was miraculously still alive. Zucchi struggles to stand up again, but she manages. She looks at the dismembered Cyberman, which is laying there on the ground with only one arm remaining. It glares back at her with a look of rage and panic in its eye. Zucchi, panting, says, "Alright, just one more shot." She pulls both her hands up to about shoulder level again and begins to charge. The Cyberman, realizing what's happening, lets out one last desperate attempt to survive and hastily fires out a ki wave towards Zucchi. At that same moment, Zucchi shouts, "Gallic gun!" Her attack easily overpowers the Cyberman's feeble blast, and as it lets out one last agonizing shriek, it is reduced to dust. As that dust begins to settle, Zucchi, although exhausted, makes the realization that she has won, and she lets out a tired, yet happy little chuckle. After having finished her most grueling training session yet, Zucchi would turn to the window from which her father was watching her, and she says exhaustedly, Did I do good, Papa?" She's barely able to get the words out as her eyes begin to shut and she slowly falls toward the floor. Gordon emerges from the observation room and picks his sleeping daughter up off the floor. He says quietly, "Yeah, you better believe it, kid. But you still have a lot of work. You still need a lot of work." Gordon then takes Zucchi to the small Saiyan family's own personal healing pod, which completely submerges the body in a special type of fast-acting healing liquid. As the liquid fills the tank, who else does Gordon see standing behind him in the reflection of the pod's window but the leader of all Saiyans himself, King Vegeta. Gordon turns to the king and tells him, "I see your timing is as impeccable as ever. I've already finished my work and training with Zucchi for the day." The king responds, "Yes, one of the many things that I've learned from you." Gordon smirks and gives a small tilt of his head. "But we both know that you are not here to reminisce." "That is correct," the king begins. "Frieza's getting closer to making his move, and things may be worse than we thought. Thanks to the most recent intel received from your son, we have reason to believe that Frieza might be planning a genocide event against us Saiyans." "I see," says Gordon, as he scratches his chin. "That certainly is a shift in plans from what he originally seemed to be doing, by sending stronger warriors on missions, only for them to wind up dead. He thinks he's removed all the pieces he needs, and doesn't need to pick us off team by team anymore." King Vegeta responds, "Yes, And if we don't think of something soon, then we're all done for. That's why your expertise has been so vital here. Is there anything that we can do to stop this bastard? Gordon lets out a rather defeated sigh. I don't know. We could try the Powerball technique to have everyone on the planet transform into a great ape for a full frontal assault. But even then, Frieza is so powerful that if he aims a blast directly at the planet, I don't even know if the power of all the great apes combined will be enough to stop it. And if the planet goes, then we all go. The king retorts grimacingly, so what'll we do then? Gordon pauses to think for a moment, then says rather unconfidently, perhaps our best bet would be to form a small team of our most powerful warriors to infiltrate Frieza's ship next time he arrives. But will that be enough? Will we be strong enough to defeat Frieza? Asks the king in the most concerned way. I doubt it, Gordon rebuked. But what else is there to try? Our only real hope is to try and catch Frieza off guard with a sneak attack, as powerful as he is. The king rubs his beard in a frustrated manner, then promptly slams his fist into a nearby desk. Damn it! He exclaims. Well, if that's all we have to work with, then I'll start forming a team that I think is most capable of getting the job done. It's a shame one of the greatest minds from the Saiyan Tuffle War can't even figure out a way for us to win this. But against an unstoppable force like him, nothing short of an immovable object can save us now. I'm sorry, Gordon. I understand that you're trying your best with what's been given. I appreciate everything you've done for our race, but I think this is as far as this conversation can go. Thank you for your consultation, and remember, not a word of this to anyone. Understood, Gordon reassured the king as he takes his leave. The following day, Zucchi is awoken by the sound of the fluid draining from the healing pod. Eva, Phoenix, Raptor, hello, welcome in. Sorry I didn't welcome you in right away, but, wanted to make sure that I read this all in one go, nice and fluidly. Yeah, welcome in, everyone. Hopefully everyone's having themselves a nice night. But now that everybody's should be all nice and caught up, and if they're not, there's a point in the video that you can go and check, right? At the very least, I can say that ends at like 17 minutes, 15 seconds, something like that. But yeah, so we've seen a few things from Zucchi by now. We've seen that she can use Gallic Gun. We've also seen a technique that she is learning called the Gallic Grenade. Now we move on to kind of more of a training arc. Like, if you remember an original Dragon Ball, kind of think of it as when we kind of see all of the training that Master Roshi puts Goku and Krillin through, what with throwing a stone and they have to find it, and then digging up basically rototilling with their bare hands and stuff like that. We're going to go through some kind of little period like that where Zucchi is going to better learn the Gallic Grenade. It might not hurt to have some sticky notes for this. Yeah, here we go. But yeah, shit, I'd say this is not a bad start at all. I'd say that this is not so bad. So, the main things that we need to start covering next then. The main things would be... So, there's going to be kind of some exposition. So, Gordon... And I'm just, like, jotting down, like, real quickly what I want to do, and then, once I figured out the series of events, I'll figure out how I want to do it. But Gordon gets Zucchi. He talks to her about her performance and maybe reads her power level, right? Reads her power level. sorry for not coming to the last story stream. Anything important happened yesterday? I mean, everything that you have read. The main thing was as I wrote the Cyberman fight scene. Last night is what I did. But I just read the whole story from start to finish now, so hopefully everybody's caught up. And if you guys have any questions about the series thus far, feel free to ask. It talks to her about her performance, reads her power level. Gordon has another property in the Badlands. For training. And he takes Zucchi there. So things Zucchi needs to train on. She needs to master the up-close version of the Gallic Grenade. So I think that would be probably the best place to start, because there'd be the Gallic Grenade, the Powerball / Great Ape, and those are the two, like, major things. Those are the two most important things I'm trying to get at right now. Was that Gohan's screen? I mean, probably. I'm not paying super duper close attention to the music, but I just looked up some Dragon Ball lo-fi, like a Dragon Ball lo-fi thing, so I don't really know exactly what we can expect in this. But anyway, take Zucchi there, so she needs to train in the Gallic Grenade and the Power Ball / Great Ape form. It would make sense that her power level would be small since she's just getting into it. Is her power level, like, small or growing? So we'll get specific about it here in a few minutes. I kind of need to look some stuff up and verify a couple of details. But yeah, I'm not going to have power levels be super, like, relevant for a long time. I don't want to put too much emphasis into them. You know, just because that there is a thing that, you know, basically every Saiyan and everyone else in the Frieza army has, being a scouter, you know. They're always using that thing, being like, oh, beep, 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 what's the number attached to this guy? You know? I'm going to mention it, and it will be there, but I'd like to keep the details of strength a little more vague when possible. You thought I picked up a cat when he reached for his water bottle. No, I don't have any cats right now. But yeah, like I said, it makes sense to mention power levels, especially early on here, because that's when the numbers actually kind of mean stuff. But I've been purposefully being vague up to this point, just because that's how I want it to be. How would getting a cat be doing you a favor? That'll make no sense. Okay. She needs to train in the Gallic Gun and the Powerball in the Great Ape form. And that's what they're going to be doing in the Badlands. And that's basically where they're going to stay for a long time. Now, here's the thing. After I don't know specifically what all is going to go down in this training. I've got some vague ideas right now, but it'll all come together once I actually start getting into the real thing. I just want to make sure that I know where I'm going first. Just doing a little bit of road mapping. Because after the training is done, I know the next thing that is going to happen is the destruction of planet Vegeta goes underway. So training ends. Gordon gets Zucchi on a ship and sends her off the planet. And I'm trying to think of a good way. Zucchi witnesses the planet's destruction. Alright. She passes out until after her arrival on planet Tivne. Tivne arc begins. I have a couple of vague ideas cooking in my head for when she gets to Tivne. But I'd be surprised. I don't know, man. We might be able to get up to all of this. Yeah, her dad's gonna die. He was chosen to be a part of the team to infiltrate Frieza's ship. Is how I think I'm gonna kind of take care of that. Unless I get a dog instead. What kind of folks do we got out there? Are you guys more cat people or dog people? Me personally, I like both. I feel like right now, if I were to get a pet, I would probably choose a cat. But if I felt like I was a good enough pet owner at that point, I would probably start thinking about getting a dog too, is kind of how I'd feel. You've always been a dog person. You love dogs and a bit of cats. What's up, Slayer? Welcome in, man. Always good to see you. Okay. So let me just see. How's the story? Pretty good, man. Pretty good. I read the whole thing from start to finish. I haven't written anything new just yet. Just wanted to make sure that everybody was all caught up. And now I've kind of got my bullet points right here for where the story's going to go. And now it's time to start implementing them. So, Gordon gets Zucchi, talks to her about her performance, reads her power level. Gordon has another property in the Badlands for trainings, and he takes Zucchi there. She needs to train in the Gallic Grenade and the Powerball / Great Ape form. Training ends. Gordon gets Zucchi on a ship and sends her off the planet. Zucchi witnesses the planet's destruction. She passes out until after her arrival on planet Tivne. Get a hamster, he's gonna be chill, trust you? Why you being all sketchy about it, man? Do you know something I don't about hamsters? Are hamsters not chill? Stryden used to have a gerbil, and I remember sometimes he'd say that gerbil would get on its wheel in the middle of the night and just start making that thing go crazy. So what, are all rodents little assholes like that? Anyway, here. Let me put this in a place that's not just going to disappear on me, and I can keep referencing it. What are the rewards of the Goku Black Raid? I got a video all about it on my channel. It's very recent, so if you want to know the specifics, go there. But a quick rundown is 2 artworks. That's the only thing particularly special about this raid. I mean, of course, there's STP medals too, but, like, that's not necessarily unique, right? They're all going to have that going forward as far as we can tell. Alright. So. Gordon gets Zucchi. The following day, Zucchi is awoken by the sound of the fluid draining from the healing pod. Okay, so as Zucchi emerges from the pod, her father is awaiting her. Hi. Ugh. Hi, Papa. Zucchi says to him. Good morning, Zucchi. Come, it's time for some breakfast. Zucchi excitedly heads heads for the kitchen, I guess. Heads for the breakfast table, whatever. Heads for the breakfast table. Oh, Papa! You should read my power level. Zucchi remembers. Well, maybe not, because what I want to have Gordon respond with. Zucchi gleefully says, "Now, Zucchi, I don't read your power level until after breakfast. And I've given you an evaluation of your training. You know that." Kind of have like a little parent and child type of banter, right? Gordon retorts, "You know this song? It's from Rifty Beats? That doesn't surprise me. I know that he's done a lot of, like... He's a pretty popular music dude in the Dragon Ball community, as far as I'm aware." Aww. Zucchi pouts. But she quickly gets over it as she is also excited to eat. Hey, Tyrese, hello. Welcome in.
Far away, in an enchanted land that's untouched by the steady march of time,
I think this is the first song. Hold on. Damn, so this one only loops like every 40 minutes, according to the description? We might go back to, like, lo-fi Pokemon. As they begin... After they have come to the end of their meal, Gordon begins to explain to Zucchi. Oops. What am I doing? Am I okay? Now, child. You may have won your battle yesterday, but you still have room to improve. Cyrus, hello, welcome in. Do the servers work? I don't know, you tell me, man. I haven't been on all day. But you still have room to improve. Nah, I haven't checked that out yet, Tyrese. Also, hello, Proto Man. Welcome in. Yeah, I haven't checked out the most recent trailer yet. Zucchi really begins to listen up. Your hand-to-hand skills looked good. I'll give you that. But your key control and your usage of... Ryosuke, hello, welcome in. I just had someone else ask me if servers are down, and someone else in chat responded that they're working on PS5, so I don't know, dude. You hop on, you tell me. I haven't been on all day. On the game, that is. But your key control and your usage... and your timing with key blasts is all off. Your first usage of Gallic gun left you wide open for attack. And guess what happened? You got attacked. Donka, hello, welcome in. And guess what happened? You got attacked. You did well with your long range usage of Gallic grenade, but your up close variant how many pages did you write? I mean, I don't know, man. I've written this much, right? I've got this whole wall of text, but this is I guess a super basic, like, writing program because it doesn't separate things by pages. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe there'd be something that I could do in settings, like put a page break or something. Insert. Yeah, I don't know that this thing really has a page break, which is kind of a weird choice because then what the hell are you supposed to do if you wanted to print it out, right? Luckily, I'm not looking to do that, but it would still be nice to know how many sheets of paper I have, you know. So I wish I knew, but WordPad won't tell me. Unless this is it? Paragraph. Damn. Oh well. but your use of the up-close variation was all wrong. You need to learn how to push your key towards your opponent with more force. Or else you're going to get caught in the kickback every single time. Also, the Gallic Grenade. Also, you need to remember that you can charge two at the same time, since the technique only requires one hand. For the situation you were in, you should have made use of that rather than charging one right after the other. You need to remember that you can charge two at the same time, since the technique only requires one hand. For the situation you were in, you should have made use of that rather than charging one right after the other. Okay, let me kind of see what I have going from start to finish here, and let me see how I'm feeling about the flow. As Zucchi emerges from the pod, her father is awaiting her. "Hi, Papa," Zucchi says to him. "Good morning, Zucchi. Come, it's time for some breakfast." Zucchi excitedly heads for the breakfast table. "Oh, Papa, you should read my power level," Zucchi gleefully says. "Now, Zucchi, I don't read your power level until after breakfast, and I've given you an evaluation of your training. You know that," Gordon retorts. "Aww," Zucchi pouts. But she quickly gets over it, as she is also excited to eat. After they have come to the end of their meal, Gordon begins to explain to Zucchi. "Now, child, you may have won your battle yesterday, but you still have room to improve." Zucchi really begins to listen up. "Your hand-to-hand skills looked good, I'll give you that, but your key control and your timing with your key blasts is all off. Your first usage of Gallic Gun left you wide open for attack, and guess what happened? You got attacked. You did well with your long-range use of Gallic Grenade, But your use of the up-close variation was all wrong. You need to learn how to push your ki towards your opponent with more force, or else you're going to get caught in the kickback every single time. Also, you need to remember that you can charge 2 at the same time. The technique only requires one hand. Since the technique only requires one hand, for the situation you were in, you should have made use of that, rather than charging one right after the other. Alrighty, Slayer. For sure. Thanks for popping in when you can, man. Cool if I separated speech from normal text? Like in what sense? Because, I mean, you know, I'm using quotation marks. Okay, like, you mean putting an underscore before it? I don't know, man. That looks weird to me. Rather than charging one right after the other. Your finishing move, I must admit, was flawless. Like in novels, let me see something here. Quotation formatting in novels. And use quotation marks. Dialogue tags stay outside the quotation marks. Yeah, so this is everything. Use a separate sentence for actions. Okay. Use single quotes when quoting something with the dialogue. Ah, okay. Well. Okay, so then use a new paragraph to indicate a new speaker. Oh. Interesting. Start with a lowercase letter if action interrupts dialogue. Have long speeches have their own rules. Okay. Okay, well, I found actually a pretty good resource to help me with something like that. Right now, I'm most worried about getting my ideas on paper, right? You know, these things, they always happen in stages, no matter what level you're at. Amateur to professional, published, best-selling writer, right? It's always a process. And I think part of my process is, like, just fucking get the words out, worry about the formalities later. I do got someone who did volunteer to kind of work as an editor to help make sure that shit like my punctuation and my paragraphs and stuff are correct, so this will go through many iterations. If I stick with it, that is. Oh. But yeah, I found a really good resource so that way I can study that shit myself, so that way maybe as time goes on I can kind of tend to some of that as I'm going on, but admittedly right now my writing skills are really rusty. The last time I writ anything was in... oh man, like 10 years ago? Your finishing move, I must admit, was flawless. Yeah, I mean, what you described is basically what I read in this website that I just found. You know, I think that's just how, like, books are written. So... but yeah, given that I'm not familiar enough with all the rules, because there was like a whole list of like 12, 15 steps to make sure you're doing it right, and like I said, I'd rather get the words out right now rather than worry about having every last thing. I don't think grammatically correct is the correct word, but correct in the sense of like formatting. We'll get around to it eventually. What the fuck do I want to say next? Your finishing move, I must admit, was flawless. Zucchi nods with... with a determined look on her face. Absorbing the information that her father has given her. Absorbing the information that her father has given her. Now then. Gordon continued. You need to get ready to leave. I have another... I own some land out in the Badlands. In the Badlands, where need to get ready to leave. I own some land out in the Badlands, where we're going to continue the rest of your training. Right. Zucchi, can you give some ideas? I mean, yeah, you can throw ideas out there, but whether or not I'm gonna use them is a whole nother story. Zucchi says as she starts heading to her room to get her things. Yeah. A moment later, there's a knock on the door. Trunks became a time patroller as punishment for messing with the timelines. What if every time patroller was the same? I mean, that would be kind of neat. Truth be told, I'm not as familiar with all of the lore of Xenoverse 2 as I should be. I was actually talking about on a stream the other night that I should totally do a somewhat of a lore run going, doing a playthrough of Xenoverse through Xenoverse 2. A moment later, there's a knock on the door. Gordon answers it to find a member of the Royal Guard. I guess we'll just go with that. Gordon answers it to find. God damn. I cannot type, guys. Gordon answers it to find a member of the Royal Guard. The guard says, "Sir, a note from the king." It says, "Sir, a note from the king," and promptly takes his leave. Gordon Gordon reads what is written. I'm having a time of it tonight. I need you for this, Gordon. Gordon sighs. What the hell? Zucchi then runs in with a few bags of her belongings. Okay, I'm ready, she claims. Gordon looks up at her. And motions her to come with him. They load everything up in a mid-sized transportation vehicle and begin to make their way. And begging to be making their way. God dang it. Why am I like this? Lauren looks up at her and motions her to come with him. They load everything up in a mid-sized transportation vehicle and begin to make their way. Let's see here. So, I don't really see the reason to be like, oh, you know, on the trip. I'm kind of trying to think of about how long their trip would be. You know, I'm trying to think about, like, extraterrestrial vehicles and what kind would be on a planet like Vegeta. You know, of course they're going to need to transport shit around, and sometimes they're just going to have shit that's too big to heavy. So they're in, like, a truck-ish kind of like a vehicle right now. I think I'm just going to leave it as a mid-sized transportation vehicle. But I'm just trying to think. Because I don't just want to be like, oh, upon arrival. I at least want to make a statement like, it takes them a couple of hours to get there. I did misspell vehicle, didn't I? I hate this fucking program, dude. I need to find a better writing program. That would make it a lot easier to catch my spelling and grammar mistakes. And, you know, maybe I could actually do some better formatting, because, just a bit ago I did pull up this thing about, you know, like formatting dialogue. But yeah, it's kind of a lot of information to take in, and I don't know if I'm even going to be able to do some of this stuff it wants me to do and have it look good. Because this is a pretty fucking limited program, man, I tell you what. Vehicle. Ah, pain in my ass, dude. This program stinks like shit. But I guess beggars can't be choosers, huh? Google Docs? Oh, maybe. There's an idea. That would also probably make it a little bit easier to share. So that way when I... Maybe that would be a better way for me to send it off to Solo. For him to take a second look at it. Or, you know, anyone else that might volunteer to fix my grammatical and punctuation and formatting errors. I'll look into Google Docs. Don't really want to fuck around with it right now, but I'll probably look into it later. Like I've been saying, my main concern is just getting the ideas on paper. Then we can make it look pretty later. Did I play the BO6 beta? BO6 beta, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're referencing. Is that like the Dragon Ball MOBA? Oh, Black Ops. No, I don't play. I'm not a COD player. I can get down on some zombies sometimes, but like, eh. Motions are to come with him. They load everything up in a mid-sized transportation vehicle and begin to make their way. You wish you weren't one. Well, feel free to stop anytime you're ready, man. Find a new obsession to replace it, because that's always how it works, right? In fact, hey, man. Write a story. Write your own Call of Duty storyline, man. Send it into Activision or whoever it is that works on the game. Be like, hey, I got an idea for your next game. Okay, so let me take a look at some of these notes. Gordon has another property in the Badlands for training, and he takes Zucchi there. Okay. So yeah, I need to get them to this property. You know what? No, I don't. Who's that? Begin to make their way. I'm gonna say that they live in the capital. So they travel a long ways from the capital city in which they live in. You're sure you could make a better story than they make in that shitty, beautiful game? Well, the hell, man. What are you waiting for? Write one up. They travel a long ways from the capital in which they live in. And arrive at a modest sized home that one might say is in the middle of nowhere. Haha. You just have to learn how to write. Yeah, man, I got a lot of shit that I need to work on in order to make this here, like, great. I think the words that I'm coming up with are pretty damn good. I think the way I'm describing things and doing dialogue and stuff is coming out good. You know, I just, you know, I'm not the best at doing it right, you know, in terms of formatting it right. Plus, there's probably a couple of things here and there that I could, like, change the wording up of or maybe rearrange in some way. I'm sure there is, but... Got a modest-sized home that one might say is in the middle of nowhere. They get themselves settled in. You wish you had the patience and the inspiration? I hear that. That is a relatable thing you just said. They get themselves settled in. And Gordon tells Zucchi now then, there's no time like the present. All the stories you create get kind of freaky in some way. Oh, so you're one of those kind of writers, huh? Oh, you're... I see. There's no time like the present to resume your training. The first thing that I want to have you accomplish it's because you create them while bathing. Oh yeah, Donka, because that makes it so much better. Excuses, excuses. The first thing I want to have you accomplish the first thing that I want to have you accomplish is mastering the close-ranged version of Gallic grenade. I'll take you a ways from the house so that you'll have all the space you'll need for its explosive power. You're going to practice with it either until you get it right every single time, or until it damn near kills you. Do you understand? Now then, there's no time like the present to resume. You are training. You are training. The first thing that I want to have you accomplish is mastering the close-range version of the Gallic grenade. I'll take you a ways from the house so that you'll have all the space you'll need for its explosive power. You're going to practice with it either until you get it right every single time, or until it damn near kills you. Until you get it right every single time, until you can get it right every single time, or until it damn near kills you. Do you understand? Zucchi, with a worried look on her face, manages to make out the words. Yeah. Yes, Papa. Very well, then. Let us be off, then. The two fly off. Fly off into the distance until they find a suitable spot with plenty of large rocks dead trees and small dunes. I'll say mid. Hold on. Let me make sure that that's the right thing here. Define. Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna say large dunes then. And large dunes. Doins. I don't know why I tend to have this habit of using words just slightly too redundantly like that. At least I'm catching them. I'm just going to say large rocks and dunes, because this is supposed to be like a Badlands type of area. So I think it makes more sense just rocks and dunes. They land, and Gordon says, "Oh, what song is this a remix of?" I feel it's like some of the fancy places in Gen 4, but I'm putting too much focus into that and not what I'm supposed to be doing here. They land, and Gordon says, "This spot will do." Now, I want you to practice your Gallic grenade. I'm kind of wondering how I want to do this. If I just want to be like, the first day Zucchi was able to fire off... Oh, wait. You want to know what I realized? We never got to the part where Gordon reads Zucchi's power level. Oh, well, that's something that I need to come back to anyway, because, like... I kind of want to compare to, like, Vegeta's power level or presumed power level. I don't know if we have any real numbers or something like that. Because I think we definitely should be trying to gauge about where Zucchi is in her strength. Because like I said, I'm going to be using it a fair bit, you know, in this general section, but... Yeah, the thing is I just don't know what number to attach to her right now. Dun 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 dun. Zucchi nods. So I'm wondering if I kind of want to describe... Because I feel there's a couple of ways that I can go about this. I could just be like... On Zucchi's first day, it pretty much went like this. It would take Zucchi, I don't know, just spitballing numbers, 3 days before she could consistently get it down, and then another 3 more until she could pretty much do as Gordon asked, do it every single time. Because I'm going to say that from about this point in time, we've got about 3 weeks to a month before the genocide of the Saiyans. You know, that's kind of where we're at. Gordon's got a month at best to toughen Zucchi up before he sends her off planet, basically. So I'm wondering about how I'd want to distribute that time, right? What the hell happened to the song? Oh. Because then I'm also going to have to get through Powerball and Great Ape training. And I don't really have anything after that. So I think I need to determine a set amount of time here. So maybe you spotted a giant Namekian mod on Expert Mission 18 offline. That'll happen every once in a while. Every once in a while, you'll bump into something like that. You can always add them to your favorites list, so that way you have a giant Namekian there to help you on quests. So let me think. Do I want this to be like a solid Gordon has 30 days from today? Because if he does, then that would mean that we could do, like, maybe we split, like, 15. Is Zucchi with 2 H's? Yeah. Her name's, I'd say a pun, but it's based off of zucchini, right? In traditional Toriyama name-scheming fashion. She is named after a vegetable. There, wait a minute. I might be a little bit confused here. Yeah, okay, it's with... Yeah, that's just a spelling mistake that I made. I was like, wait a minute, it's not 2 H's. What am I talking about? I was thinking 2 C's. I should known this. I've already, you know, I've only typed it, you know what, here, every fucking where else. But that's just a... But that's probably going to happen a lot. I admit that I am not the greatest typer. The most pressed button on my keyboard, if I could somehow find that metric, would undoubtedly be backspace. Okay, but yeah, so... Let me think about this for a second. And he takes Zucchi there. She needs to train with the Gallic Grenade and the Powerball. Okay. Maybe I can do like a little bit of an explanation here with Gordon about what he's trying to accomplish with the Gallic Grenade. Because he's in a way trying to use the Zenkais boost that Saiyans have to kind of hasten along her training. So, using the Gallic Grenade, which has potential kickback on it if you're not good with it, can cause the user to seriously injure themselves. And the house he has does have healing pods in it, so... So, I'm gonna say... let's just say that Gordon has 30 days to train Zucchi. I'm gonna say it would have to either be, you know, like 1 month out or 2 months out, but I would think that Frieza would want to act sooner rather than later. So something tells me that we should make this about 1 month out. Because the way that this works out in my head is Zucchi does master the Powerball, but it takes her a while to do it, and she's able to get kind of the use out of the Zenkai ability of the Saiyans, making it a little bit easier for her to gain control of her Great Ape form, but I'm not trying to have her have full mastery over Great Ape by the time she leaves the planet. It's just that she has a grip on it, right? She has a grip on it, but she doesn't have full control of it, is basically where I want Zucchi to be by the time she leaves the planet. All that vegetable stuff makes you want to eat vegetables. Yeah, some nice sautéed veggies sounds really good right about now, I can't lie. But then again, so does something disgusting like a greasy-ass cheeseburger. I don't know why, but I've been having a weird craving for Wendy's, and I hate Wendy's cheeseburgers. I guess the Baconator is pretty good. But I don't know. Wendy's leaves a weird taste in my mouth. Okay, so 30 days to train Zucchi. She figures out the Gallic grenade. Their spicy nuggets are good. Most places I go, I like their chicken products. I find it very difficult for a fast food joint, or really any kind of food place, to fuck up chicken. That's in my opinion. Most anywhere I go, if I know that I don't like their burgers, I will opt for their chicken products. So I do like their spicy nuggets. Their spicy nuggets are really good. They're not super great with sauce. I feel like the way that they're made, they're already good sauceless. But, you know, if I want sauce nuggets, you know, I'll just get some regular ones and get myself some barbecue sauce. Never had Wendy's. Well, don't put a frowny face at the end of that sentence, Donka. You're truly not missing out on anything. In my opinion, they're one of the worst fast food joints out there. Well, maybe not worst. They might not, like, if I had a tier list, they probably wouldn't quite be in F tier, but they would probably be in D tier. She figures out the Gallic grenade, and she gets a grip on Great Ape, but not full control. You never had a Baconator or cheeseburger at Wendy's and never been there. You're into McDonald's cheeseburger and BK Whopper. Yeah, I don't like Burger King. I'm perfectly fine with McDonald's. Burger King, I think, is as bad or worse with Wendy's as far as their burgers are concerned. So, here's what I need to determine for myself. Or for the story, rather. I think 30 days is going to be how long Zucchi trains for. The Gallic Grenade is going to do a lot to teach her key control, as well as kind of power her up in a quick manner. And I think that I can't leave any less than half of this training for Zucchi to try and work with the Power Ball and then control Great Ape, because that's kind of two things in one right there. I'm tweaking? Oh, no, I definitely know what I'm talking about. I definitely know what I'm saying. But she gets a grip on the grade 8, but not full control. So, I mean, I don't know. The thing is... A Whopper is so good. I don't know. I haven't had, like, just their Whopper in a long time. I usually got something like their Bacon King or, like, some other, like, cheeseburger other than their basic. You know, so I don't know. Maybe a Whopper would be good. I might be willing to try it, but I'm really reluctant to go to Burger King. Again, I think their chicken products are alright. I do like their nuggets. I'm kind of pissed off that they upped the price of them. But I do like their nuggets. Big equals better? No, not when your buns are spongy and your meat is bland. It's not. So 15, I think 15 days, because that would be just over 2 weeks, and she would learn key control, and it would be a good way for her to get stronger faster. I think 15 days is going to be how we're going to go, but describing those 15 days, you know, I kind of want to get through this part as quickly as possible, because I feel like... I definitely feel like this is something to skim through. Like, you know how movies have, like, training montages and something like that? You know, I feel like I ought to try and go for kind of a writing version of that. Each day is a passage in a diary? I don't know, man. Because then, like I said, we've got 30 days till the destruction of planet Vegeta. Like, if I gotta write something in detail for each of the 30 days, you know, I feel like there's gonna be some days where there's highlights, and it's gonna be like a couple of days in between where, you know, not much progress or barely any progress is made, right? See, this is where I'm stuck. I hate it when that happens, man. Hate getting stuck on shit. So maybe what I do instead is I try and figure out roundabouts where Zucchi's power level is then. So having a starting power level would be good, but I'm not sure. Kid Vegeta. Let me put some power level notes here. So one thing we know about Saiyans at this time, Bardock is... he's in the ballpark of 10,000. He is about 10,000. Right? I think that's generally what people agree on. So let's look up average Saiyan power level. Okay, so here's a Reddit post. I want to try and get a source that's going to try and be as accurate as it can be. Which CAC race except Saiyan and Freezer race do you start with in Xenoverse 2? So if I were to ever recommend anyone a starter race, I would recommend something like maybe female Earthling or female Saiyan. I feel like those are two great ones just because they have really high ki blast damage. And the thing about female Earthlings is if you plan to do PvP, they're probably better than female Saiyans are. If you want to have something that can do PvP and PvE both extremely well. Yeah, so I mean, I'm just trying to figure out like everything that I can here. So I'm gonna compare like character power levels. So like right now, what was Raditz? He was like was Raditz like 1200? Raditz was 1600? Well, here's a list of power levels, but this is the fucking Dragon Ball wiki, so I don't know about how much I can trust this. So this is information that I'd really like to have just at a glance instead of watching a video and having to wait like 6 minutes in an 18-minute video explaining one damn thing, right? Excuse me? Yeah, I thought it was 1200 too as well, who... That's what I thought it was. Okay, so this breaks it up by saga. Let's go to... So the Raditz saga. Okay, so we have 3 mentions of Raditz here. So it's over 12,000 according to volume 18 and 215. It's 1,500 according to Daizenshu 7. And it's 1,600 according to movie 20 information card. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm glad that this lists multiple sources here. Because, yeah, this is what I swear it was from the manga. And then Daizenshu 7 is a lot of, like, power scalers and people who talk about Dragon Ball in general. And they reference Daizenshu 7 a lot. And from what those people say, the movie information cards are not very credible. So... what we're going to say for Raditz is he's somewhere between 1,200 and 1,500. I'm going to approximate this shit, so... 1,200 to 1,500 I think is fair enough to say. Since it says over 1,200. Okay, what about... What about Nappa here? Let's find Nappa on this list. Okay, that's what I thought. So, 4,000 for Nappa, and Nappa's considered a Saiyan elite here. Now, granted, that seems to be more of a social status, like something that you get assigned at birth. I know that there's some source that says, oh, it's based on your power level, but how strong could Nappa have been at birth if he's 4,000, right? Yeah, I know about the Control F thing, but I'm gonna scroll just in case I happen to come across a character that I don't think about. Like I'm well aware of that mechanic. I use it all the time, but I don't want to end up missing something, so I think it's better to take it slower. Okay, so we have Nappa at about 4,000. I wish we could find... do you think they'll have a Kid Vegeta on here? Kid... No. Let's see if we search Vegeta. How many instances do we get here? I'm not going to worry about these big-ass numbers here. I mean, at a certain point, it's going to be... We're going to get very vague with it. I just need to know what, like, early Saiyans could mostly be expecting in terms of power. Let's see, do we have a King Vegeta, do you think? No, we don't. Ooh. That's not good. A Saiyan Army sniper in the Broly movie is 2,000. But who is this? A Saiyan Army snipers are a group of minor characters in That's fucking... I swear to God, dude. I got ad block going, but look at all these ads that still show up. Are in Broly and are the first Saiyans to be killed by Frieza during the occupation plan. Blah. What exactly is this? It says it's in Broly. So are they talking about the first Z Broly movie? For fuck's sake, dude. Is there anyone else that I would really want to take a look at? Because, I mean, if what was this? 2,000? I mean, we could say that this would be around the higher end of your average Saiyan, right? Because then Nappa being twice as strong would kind of make sense. Nappa being twice as strong as average. So, average is around 2,000. Now, the biggest thing that I really want to figure the fuck out right now is King Vegeta's. Like that, if I could get information on King Vegeta's power level, I think I could make a comfortable guess. Or, you know, I could comfortably place Zucchi on a scale. I would really like something else than the goddamn... Yeah, because I feel like they have left King Vegeta's power level to be one of the most ambiguous things. Do we have anything in here that's, like, says power level? There's 9 matches. King Vegeta is the king of the Saiyan race. While he was facing Frieza on Namek, Vegeta remarked that, as a child, he was already more powerful than his father, implying King Vegeta's power level is under 18,000. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. At least we have something that can imply. So, if they said that Bardock had a power level close to 10,000, and there were remarks made that if he keeps going like this, from what I understand, he was still a ways away, but if he kept going like he was, he would have surpassed King Vegeta. So, I think that a pretty fair estimate would be like 15,000, honestly. Oh, and this even mentions it. The doctor working on Bardock after his injury sustained on planet Kanasa states that Bardock's power level was nearing 10,000 and is expected to pass up King Vegeta in a short time. So yeah, we would have to say that it's somewhere in between 10 and 18,000, right? Like that would be the range. Or I would want to say probably between 11,000 and 18,000, honestly. I don't know. I don't know. If Vegeta remarked that he was more powerful than his father when he was a child. Daizenshuu 7 states that King Vegeta was the strongest Saiyan at the time of the genocide of the Saiyans with a power level of 25,000. Ooh. A new challenger has entered the ring. In an interview, the author Akira Toriyama says that while almost all Saiyans were low class, and that there were about 10 mid-class, the elite class were made up of only King Vegeta and his son Vegeta. Well, we know that's bullshit because Nappa is referred to as an elite, right? See, this is why I hate this continuity, man. It's just so retroactive. Because this, you know, how trustworthy this page is hard to say in and of itself. So it's like the information you find online about this series, man, it's just so hard to know what would be accurate. And I'd like to be as close to the source material as I can get, you know, but with conflicting information, it's like I gotta... Maybe there'll be something useful here in trivia. Super Saiyan, he's drawn with black hair. This is due to Vegeta stating in the manga that true Saiyan's hair is always black and does not grow. Yeah, nothing useful here. Okay, so I think that this is going to be an instance where either this statement isn't true or the information in Daizenshuu 7 is not true. Because when I've watched power scalers and people who kind of talk about similar things, generally they say the manga is the first most reputable thing. Whatever gets stated in the manga, that's what's usually first considered. Then Daizenshuu, then any kind of like movie guides or movie pamphlets or anything along those lines. So, I think what I should do here is King Vegeta will just say 10,000, and I'm going to say probably to like... Alrighty, Donka, for sure. Thanks for kicking it with us tonight. Hopefully you have yourself a nice rest of your day, rest of your night. And hopefully we'll see some more of you again in the future, man. I think that's the range that we need to look at here. And honestly, I am going to say that about 15,000 is correct. All right, I want to say like 15, 16,000. I think that's going to be a very safe kind of area to work with. So, with all of these, right, and then we have Vegeta, Saiyan Saga, at about 18,000. Zero, hello, welcome in. Not sure what you said, but shows me you said something. So welcome in, man. And then Goku Saiyan Saga. So according to the manga, he's 8,000, right? But according to the anime, he's 9,000. So if that's where Goku was able to train, was in Otherworld before that, but he is a low-class warrior. So, you know, he had to work to catch up to Vegeta, right? He surpassed Nappa sometime in the middle of that training, and then he would have gotten, you know, his power level matched Vegeta's thanks to a technique he learned in the Kaioken. For Goku, you know, against Nappa, I'm just going to say 9,000 here. So with that being said, we have all these numbers to take into consideration. Let's see, was there... Average Saiyan baby power level. So yeah, I think this makes sense. So I think having an average of 2,000 sounds pretty good because they consider Raditz to be a weakling. Right, I tend to forget about that. Raditz is often looked at kind of as a weakling. This is hard, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit stumped by this. Because I feel like this is one thing that I definitely need to figure out before moving on. Let me try and think. So, Gordon... he's getting kind of old. He's getting a little bit weaker. I'm gonna say that making him as strong as Bardock is not really... Let's see, do we have a Paragus power level, out of curiosity? Paragus power level. 4,200. It's logical to assume that a younger person in his prime power level was higher than 4,200. Let's see here. Power level. As a Saiyan Colonel, Paragus has decent combat abilities and in comparison to other Frieza Force soldiers is rather powerful. However, when compared to other higher caliber warriors within the Frieza Force, he is inferior, as Chile Scouter determined his power to be only 4,200 when he's past his prime of 80 years of age. And injured in his foot, it should also be noted that he was amazed at the fact that the Frieza Force had found him after being stuck on Vampa for more than 40 years, which could lower his power level, which would make him a mid-class Saiyan. It's logical to assume that as a younger person at his prime of fighting, his power level was higher than 4,200. Okay. So that's... But that's old, right? So Paragus, old. So yeah, I was thinking maybe somewhere around the ballpark of like between 6,000 and 7,000 for Gordon at this point. How the hell did this happen? Yeah, that does make Paragus stronger than Nappa, but just barely. So, I'd imagine their fight might end up being close, but I don't know about how much powerful you gotta be than your opponent to outright win the fight. Easily, that is. Let's see. So let's say, like... Will I do the transforming Goku Black Raid? I already did it. Did it last stream. Definitely can't have him being as strong as Bardock. So I kind of like the idea of about 7,500 for Gordon. I like that. If he's to be considered an elite. And old, you know, Paragus when he was younger could have been a little bit stronger. Or a fair bit stronger. But still keeping him just a little bit weaker than Goku was after his training in the Saiyan Saga. I don't know, maybe it should be a little bit, just a little bit higher. I feel like it... Let's do this. No. Yeah, because he's supposed to be a little bit older, right? So... maybe I'd be comfortable with something a little bit lower, like 7,100. So that way it's still above 7,000. So Zucchi, after Cyberman, what do I think is fair? I don't know that she should be on Nappa level this early. Maybe we do... How does this sound? You guys tell me your opinions here. After the Cyberman fight, because that's when Gordon does the first reading of Zucchi's power level, I think 1,900 is fair. I think 1,900 after her Cyberman fight is good, because that puts her at about average level while being 5 years old. You know? Because then Gordon could make a remark like, huh, well, you're already strong enough to compete with the average Saiyan adult. But, I don't know, I kind of want to put her a little bit stronger since she's supposed to be on those higher rungs. So I don't know, 1,900, 2,100. Maybe should be 2,000. Yeah, because I'm thinking a little bit higher, like maybe like 2,100. Because then she's, you know, I feel like at that point, yeah, you can definitely compete with the average adult. While still having a good gap of 5,000 between her and her dad. Because, I mean, I don't know about you, man, but I feel like it makes sense to, like, not... Like, what they did with Gohan doesn't make any sense, right? When he was 11, he was somehow stronger than he was when he was 17, you know? And that's just not how puberty and growing up works, you know? That's not how anatomy works. You know, so I never thought that that made any sense to me. I think it makes sense that you would, unless, you know... Of course, it is possible to get weaker. Like, you could work out, become super buff, and then stop working out altogether, and then in a couple years' time, you're not going to be as strong as what you were before. But, you know, that's a little bit different, because one thing that you can say is that's a time period where, you know, you're in your adulthood, and it makes sense then. But, you know, the process of growing up just doesn't work that way. So I'm just trying to think of what would make her really strong but still leave her room to grow. Because I'm trying to also think ahead here, because she is going to get sent off to an alien planet called Tivne. And the way that I thought about it was their average warrior was almost as strong as your average Saiyan warrior. But I need to be able to have some characters that can kind of at least keep pace with Zucchi for at least a little while until Turles shows up. Because Turles is going to show up on Tivne. So this kind of, you know, the fine details that I had in my kind of mental word vomit, I guess you could say, you know, they're really starting to get ironed out. So this might be a race of people that I might want to consider making them just outright similar to Saiyans in terms of power. Oh, man. Yeah, welcome back, Akali. Hopefully your internet stays stable. Can Zucchi get an enraged power boost like Kid Gohan did against Raditz? I don't think so, man. She's a pure-blooded Saiyan. As opposed to Gohan being half-blooded. No, you. Alright. But I think I kind of like the idea of 2100 right now. Alright. Alright, pal. But yeah, I think that's good. So let's find a good place to... Let's insert this. You need to get ready to leave. I own some land out. Zucchi says as she starts heading to her room to get her things. I think this might be the place where we insert where they talk about it. She stops I forget how to spell abruptly. Abruptly? Is that right? She stops abruptly and says, "Oh, Papa, you almost forgot. You have to read my power level." Ah, right. How could I forget? As Gordon says, as he puts his scouter on. Let's see here. He presses the button on the device, and it beeps while it makes its calculations. Potato, potato, Tyrese. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And it beeps while it makes its calculations. Well, I'll be 2,100. You're already strong enough to compete with the average Saiyan adult. You're already strong enough to compete with the average Saiyan adult. Zucchi lets out a surprised gasp. Yes! She yells as she jumps and pumps her fist into the air. I like the idea of leaps. She leaps. She leaps and pumps her fist into the air. All right. Now go get ready to go. We need to get leaving as soon as possible. Saffron, hello, welcome in. Alright, now go get ready to go. We need to get leaving as soon as possible. Gordon tells his daughter. Right. Zucchi says once again. How goes the story writing? I'm having a bit of a hard time. I feel like I'm having a harder time getting through this section than I did with the first. I'm just having a harder time getting my ideas into words. I was also kind of stuck on trying to figure out what Zucchi's power level should be right about now, which I only just figured out, right? Because I took a look at all these people's power levels. So then I kind of figured I'd decide whereabouts I should put Zucchi and Gordon. Yet another shit night at work, and I'll never believe what you found outside at work? Shit, man, you got any stories to tell? And what'd you find? A Dragon Ball? Abruptly and says, "Oh, Papa, you almost forgot." Someone dumped a whole giant catfish in the ditch full of sticker plants. Dude, what a waste. What a waste, dude. I would have gladly eaten a giant catfish. But no, someone had to go ruin it by throwing it in a ditch filled with stickers. Put the scouter on. Let's see here. He presses the button on the device and it beeps while it makes its calculations. Well, I'll be 2100. You're already strong enough to compete with the average Saiyan adult. Zucchi lets out a surprised gasp. Yes! She yells as she leaps and pumps her fist into the air. Alright, now go get ready to go. We need to get leaving as soon as possible, Gordon tells his daughter. Right, Zucchi says once again. Once again as she scurries off. Hopefully someone cleans that up. Because if that fish just gets left out there like that, it's going to start stinking to high hell out there. Now go get ready to go. We need to get leaving as soon as possible, Gordon tells his daughter. Right. And she scurries off. A moment later. Alright, that seems pretty good. So now where we've left off, Gordon is getting Zucchi's training started with the Gallic grenade. So this is where I'm stuck. I don't know if I want to just because I kind of think I should kind of whiz past this and kind of give a brief description, like a very brief description on kind of how the progress is going, because I think having Zucchi get this Gallic grenade down pat in 15 of her remaining 30 days is good, which would leave her a lot of time to train with the Power Ball and the Great Ape transformation I think I should dedicate maybe 15 days, maybe 10 days to Gallic Grenade, then 5 days to practice with the Powerball, but she doesn't necessarily do it successfully. Like, she's kind of getting the hang of it, but she's not making it powerful enough to make herself transform. So Gordon's just like, well, you can always practice that later. I really want to get you into Great Ape form. So here, let me toss a Powerball. And we're going to get you some of that Great Ape training so that way you can try and get a mental grip on it. And then once I figure this out, there's a matter of figuring out exactly how I'm going to describe this. Because I don't think that less than 15 days should be dedicated to Great Ape training. I feel like 12 would be the very least. Excuse me. Because where do we go? So training ends, Gordon gets Zucchi on a ship and sends her off planet. Zucchi witnesses the planet's destruction. She passes out after... Yeah, so this is... So maybe what we'll do is we'll do 14 days for Gallic Grenade. Which leaves us with 16. Four days spent on Powerball. Not successful. And so then that leaves 12 for Great Ape. Right? Yeah, because this is 18, which would leave 12 days left. And I feel like Gordon would want to try and do what he can to make sure she understands key control as best as she can. Because while she's getting good at that, she's making herself stronger by damaging herself along the way. Because getting her power level higher would make her Great Ape form stronger. And with the time he has allotted, maybe he doesn't expect Zucchi to have so much control over it by the time everything's done. And I kind of want to leave Zucchi, you know, in a position where she still has to learn some of these things by herself, like the Powerball and the Great Ape Transformation Control. Do I think Sparking Zero will surpass Xenoverse 2's 10 million copies sold? That's hard to say, man. Truth be told. It's very hard to say. I mean, maybe over time. I don't think it's going to be one of these things where, like, they're going to sell 10 million weekends over the first weekend or something like that. But maybe after some time has passed. Because, I mean, you got to think, people are still buying Xenoverse 2, and there will probably still be some people who do buy Xenoverse 2 before Sparking Zero comes out. So, they're still growing in their own sales as well, I'd have to imagine. So I definitely think that it would have to take some amount of time. I don't think it's just going to be like an instant thing like that. But yeah, I think that I like this. I don't know. Maybe we do 3 days on the Powerball. Because I think the Gallic Grenade training is definitely going to be the best thing for her. Learning how to control and manipulate the direction of incredible explosions like that of the Gallic Grenade, I think is going to be the most beneficial. Not to mention, you know, that would honestly make her, like, really capable of learning more techniques in the future. Because one thing that I really thought for Zucchi is that she's very teachable. And she's very fast to learn techniques after this. Right? So yeah, I think that sounds about right. Exactly 2 weeks on Gallic Grenade, just over half a week on Powerball, and then the remaining time trying to do what they can with Great Ape. I think that's honestly perfect. I honestly think that I like how that sounds really, really well. But this still I'm still kind of stumped as to exactly how I'm going to describe these training sessions. I don't think that it needs to go into super great detail. I think that the first day of her training, I should give good details, then kind of, so that way I can explain what the whole training regimen is supposed to look like. And then for the following days, I can just give like a quick little tidbit, if anything at all. Right. I think that's going to be a good way about it. So let me see if I can at least get through a day of what this training looks like. Zucchi nods, but just stands there timidly. Zucchi, listen to me. I know you must be worried about hurting yourself with your own attack. But it's with this type of training that you will not only master the Gallic grenade itself, but you'll also become a master of key control. Allowing for you to learn and develop new techniques much more easily. Not only that, but us Saiyans have a special power that allows us to become But us Saiyans have a special power that allows us to become receive even greater power boosts But us Saiyans have a special power that allows us to receive great power boosts. Not only that, but us Saiyans have a special power that allows us to receive even greater power boosts. From taking severe damage and recovering from it. Not only that, but us Saiyans have a special power that allows us to receive even greater power boosts from taking severe damage and recovering from it. The closer you push, you are pushed to death, the greater these boosts become. You see, this is a fast track to increasing your power level higher in a shorter amount of time. Not only that, but us Saiyans have a special power that allows us to receive even greater boosts from taking severe damage and recovering from it. The closer you are pushed to death, the greater these boosts become. You see, this is a fast track to increasing your power level higher in a shorter amount of time. We are covering all of the most important bases. I'm having such a hard time with my wording tonight. Not only that, but us Saiyans have a special power that allows us to receive even greater power boosts from taking severe damage and recovering from it. The closer you are pushed to death, the greater these boosts become. You see, this is a fast track to increasing your power level higher in a shorter amount of time. This is the perfect type of training for you to undergo, not only for you to increase your power level right now, but it will also set you up for success in learning new techniques in the future. Do you understand? Zucchi, now equipped with a better understanding of what's going on, and a smile on her face, simply says, yes. And then proceeds to approach one of the nearby rocks to get started. Okay, let me read what I've written today from start to finish, and we'll see how this sounds. We haven't done a start to finish basically since stream started. We definitely haven't gotten too much done, but I had to do a lot of thinking and had to fight a lot of writer's block. The following day, Zucchi is awoken by the sound of the fluid draining from the healing pod. As Zucchi emerges from the pod, her father is awaiting her. "Hi, Papa," Zucchi says to him. "Good morning, Zucchi. Come, it's time for some breakfast." Zucchi excitedly heads for the breakfast table. "Oh, Papa, you should read my power level," Zucchi gleefully says. "Now, Zucchi, I don't read your power level until after breakfast, and I've given you an evaluation of your training. You know that, Gordon retorts. Aww, Zucchi pouts. But she quickly gets over it as she is also excited to eat. After they have come to the end of their meal, Gordon begins to explain to Zucchi. Now, child, you may have won your battle yesterday, but you still have room to improve. Zucchi really begins to listen up. Your hand-to-hand skills looked good. I'll give you that. But your key control and your timing with key blasts is all off. Your first usage of Gallet Gun left you wide open for an attack, and guess what happened? You got attacked. You did well with your long-range usage of Gallet Grenade, but your use of the close-up variation was all wrong. You need to learn how to push your key towards your opponent with more force, or else you're going to get caught in the kickback every single time. Also, you need to remember that you can charge two at the same time since the technique only requires one hand. For the situation you were in, you should have made use of that, rather than charging one right after the other. Your finishing move, I must admit, was flawless. Zucchi nods with a determined look on her face, absorbing the information that her father has given her. Now then, Gordon continued, you need to get ready to leave. I own some land out in the Badlands where we're going to continue the rest of your training. Right, Zucchi says as she starts heading to her room to get her things. She stops abruptly and says, Oh, Papa, you almost forgot. You have to read my power level. Ah, right. How could I forget? Gordon says as he puts his scouter on. Let's see here. He presses the button on the device, and it beeps while it makes its calculations. Well, I'll be 2100. You're already strong enough to compete with the average Saiyan adult. Zucchi lets out a surprised gasp. Yes! She yells as she leaps and pumps her fists into the air. All right, now go get ready to go. We need to get leaving as soon as possible, Gordon tells his daughter. Right, Zucchi says once again as she scurries off. A moment later, there's a knock on the door. Gordon answers it to find a member of the Royal Guard. The guard says, Sir, a note from the king, and promptly takes his leave. Gordon reads what is written. I need you for this, Gordon. Gordon sighs. Zucchi then runs in with a few bags of her belongings. Okay, I'm ready, she claims. Gordon looks up at her and motions her to come with him. They load everything up in a mid-sized transportation vehicle and begin to make their way. They travel a long ways from the capital city in which they live and arrive in a modest-sized home that one might say is in the middle of nowhere. They get themselves settled in, and Gordon tells Zucchi, Now then, there's no time like the present to resume your training. The first thing that I want to have you accomplish is mastering the close-range version of Gallet Grenade. I'll take you a ways from the house so that you'll have all the space you'll need for its explosive power. You're going to practice with it either until you get it right every single time, or until it damn near kills you. Do you understand? Zucchi, with a worried look on her face, manages to make out the words, Yes, Papa. Very well then, let us be off. The two fly off into the distance until they find a suitable spot with plenty of large rocks and dunes. They land and Gordon says, This spot will do. Now, I want you to practice your Gallet Grenade. Zucchi nods, but just stands there timidly. Zucchi, listen to me. I know you must be worried about hurting yourself with your own attack, but it's with this type of training that you will not only master the Gallet Grenade itself, but you'll also become a master of ki control, allowing for you to learn and develop new techniques much more easily. Not only that, but us Saiyans have a special power that allows us to receive an even greater power boosts from taking severe damage and recovering from it. The closer you are pushed to death, the greater these boosts become. You see, this is a fast track to increasing your power level higher in a shorter amount of time. This is the perfect type of training for you to undergo, not only for you to increase your power level right now, but it will also set you up for success in learning new techniques in the future. Do you understand? Zucchi, now equipped with a better understanding of what's going on and a smile on her face, simply says, Yes, and then proceeds to approach one of the nearby rocks to get started. and even a smile on her face. Wow, that sounded pretty good. I've gotten to the point here where I've explained the training and what Gordon is trying to do with Zucchi. I was really hoping that I'd be able to get a little bit further than this by now. We're already way over 3 hours in. Well, not way, but well over 3 hours in, and I feel like I've only gotten like 2 solid paragraphs out of this. Well, maybe more in terms of paragraphs, but I thought I'd have more of this by now. Because from here, I think I'm truly stumped, and it might be best for me to start taking a step away from this and maybe do a little bit more of this here. Like, just kind of getting very quick, brief thoughts out on a notepad, so that way I can try and expand on them at a later time. Right? Because I really don't know what the hell to do for, like, describing the training. I might call upon Solo's help, since he said that he is willing to help me out and edit this and kind of type some stuff up. Because whenever he did type out, like, his version of the fight scene, I might not have kept any of it, but his writing definitely helped me push myself in the right direction, and it really pushed me in the right direction itself as well. So this might be a good point for me to pass this off onto a second set of eyes and see what they think of it and see what they can do. Let me make sure I save the hell out of this so I don't end up losing what progress I did make. Alright, well, like I said, I wish I could have gotten a little bit further, but I think I've kind of got a good basis for where I'm trying to go. What I think I'm going to do is just pass this off to Solo, and then we'll come back around to this next week. I definitely like the idea of doing this regularly on Fridays. It's really fun. Definitely not as much traction on this stream as we did last week, but maybe that'll change by next week. You never know. Sometimes YouTube numbers are just really sporadic, and you just can't really predict them, you know? But yeah, folks, so yeah, what I think we'll do is, I don't know if I'll be around over the weekend. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Most likely I won't, though. There's not too many people in here, so I'm not going to bother with the Discord today, I don't think. But, yeah, just be keeping an eye out on YouTube, be keeping an eye out on the Discord for whenever I go live and for whenever I post new videos. And with all that being said, I do think that's going to be about my cue to bounce. Certainly do hope that you enjoyed watching just as much as I enjoyed presenting this evening, and until we meet again, make sure you take care. See ya.